All right. Good afternoon, everyone. I call this meeting of the Michigan Independent Citizens Redistricting Commission back to order at 4:33. Will the secretary please call the roll?
Absolutely. Commissioners, please say present when I call your name. If you're attending today's meeting remotely, please disclose your physical location when I call your name. I will start with Doug Clark.
Present, I'm attending today's meeting remotely from Rochester Hills.
Juanita Curry. Anthony Eade. Brittany Kellum.
Present and attending remotely from Wayne County, Michigan.
Rhonda Lang. Steve Lett.
In attendance.
Cynthia Orton.
Present.
MC Rothorn.
Present.
Rebecca Satella. Janice Follett. Present. Aaron Wagner. Richard Weiss.
Present.
Dustin Witches.
Available.
9 commissioners are present and there is a quorum.
Thank you, Ms. Reinhardt. Without objection, we will return to our mapping with Commissioner Kellum. I'm hearing no objections. Oh, Commissioner, excuse me, Mr. Stigall.
My comment was I have brought in Commissioner Zatella's plan that was uploaded this morning, and that's in the darker red lines. They're somewhat transparent, so you can see where they're at. I could briefly run down what I saw, the changes.
Commissioner Kellum, please direct as you wish.
Yep, I am. Ken, I would appreciate if you could go over those changes. That would be helpful. Respective to, I mean, other commissioners might want to hear the general changes, but I was interested in what was happening with 5 and 7, but go ahead, Ken.
Okay, what I saw when I briefly went around was the red line is her 15 and 25 boundary. The green and purple is the current plan that we're working on. So you can see 15 went up this way, 25. 15 and 2. And then 25 comes down this way, 7 goes up. 5 is similar, but there are some changes where it picks up population here. 7, 6 is edited, 8 is edited, 17 is changed, is pushed down, 19 is pushed back into here. 17 and 12 boundary are changed. And I think that's the sum of it. I did spot, just perusing around, some township movement over here. But I think there's 30 change between 32 and 35, a couple of townships. So measurable change 2, 4, 6, 8, 9 townships, 35 and 33. 34 and 36, 2, 4, 5 townships. I didn't go up into the UP, but big picture, there it is. The biggest movements around here. Okay, I'm finished.
You have the floor, Commissioner Kellum.
Okay, and I mean, I know I have the floor, but are there other commissioners that have thoughts about, I actually kind of like the way this looks. It seems as though there were adjustments made, of course, in the Detroit and Metro Detroit area that allowed for some of the suburban and western areas of Michigan to, the switches that Chair Zatella made over there, I understand she made to be able to do some of the configurations that we see in the more challenging areas.
Commissioner Orton has a thought. Do you want to hear from Commissioner Orton?
Of course, because my next thing is to figure out how to incorporate the overlay, or like what do we think we could do with just that? So Commissioner Orton, please.
Well, I think on our collaborative map, we painstakingly considered things in the right order to make this. So I think we could slowly incorporate some of these changes like in District 7 or 6 or whatever, but I don't think we should just wholesale use this because this is not the collaborative map. So I think we could just slowly start incorporating some of the changes if you want to follow her lines until we get it to the ones we need to flip.
Commissioner Lett?
Well, I think in order to have an evaluation of what hers is, we need to look at the numbers so that we have some idea of what's happened.
Commissioner Witches?
So, do you mean look at the partisan fairness numbers or the numbers in general on the active matrix? So in order to do that quickly, to compare it, we could just import hers and look at just the numbers.
Commissioner Kellum, it is your turn, but that's some of the thoughts here in the room.
Yes, I should have prefaced that when I said I like what she had, that's without seeing the numbers. And of course we would run those. So yeah, that's fine. I'll also say this is just my personal opinion. I am a huge fan, obviously, by the way that I take my turns of collaboration. However, I am not against one of us coming up because we've all experienced collaborating and mapping and hearing the suggestions and the feedback. When one of the commissioners comes up with something like this, and it doesn't matter who it is, what I see is that person has taken all of that into account, and this is their stab at an elevated version of our collaboration, which I feel like we're supposed to do, because essentially the public and each of us we're supposed to kind of outdo the collaboration, the process. We want to come up with the best example. So if we decide that we like the numbers, and, by my statement that I was saying that I liked her map, I don't think that there's anything wrong with us taking any Commissioner Zatella, Witches, Eid, whoever comes up with something and saying as a commission, hey, we really like that. And this incorporates all of the suggestions that we've had thus far. So that's my 2 cents on that piece of it.
Thank you, Commissioner Kellum. Commissioner Clark?
Yeah, I think that when we get something from an individual that has wholesale changes, then it should be an individual map. I'm not necessarily convinced we should make it as a collaborative map, because we all didn't participate in it. But I definitely want to look at the numbers. I mean, some of the ideas here may be very beneficial to us as we go through this.
All right, so back to, I think, what Commissioner Kellum was suggesting, and Commissioner Witches as well. Let's leave this map, and right, because in order to run the numbers in the partisan fairness, we have to incorporate, right, close this one down, and not just use an overlay, but actually bring up the map and run the partisan fairness numbers. Is that correct, Commissioner Kellum?
Yes, that's correct.
Mr. Stegall, will you help us?
So we're going to close this plan and move on to Commissioner Zatella's plan.
That's the idea. Run the numbers, and then we'll come back, or it is Commissioner Kellum's turn, so we'll evaluate at that point.
My turn is a collaborative turn, so you don't have to.
Absolutely.
It's my turn.
I think I say that mostly because I know that the mappers appreciate knowing who to listen to, and sometimes it makes it,
Commissioner Kellum, you want to open up Commissioner Zatella's plan that was uploaded this morning?
Yes, Ken.
So this is Commissioner Zatella's plan. We'll go into reports. We'll run the report. What report? We're looking at partisan fairness now?
Yes,
Is that
that's
the
my
numbers we're looking at? Okay, I
Yes.
just want to make sure that I'm not. Oh, I'm losing my mojo. Statewide. So this is Commissioner Zadella's plan. The lopsided margin.
Yep. And do we have the comparison or Mr. Commissioner E, do you want to walk us through it?
If Commissioner Kellum would like me to, then I'm willing to.
Oh, you all, please, come on. This is too much.
That's
I
what
have
she
been
means.
keeping
when-
track of them. So.
Yep. Yeah.
Okay. The base collaborative Senate map that we started with had a lopsided margin test of 5.7%. These changes bring it to 4.5%. Let's look at mean median difference next. The original plan was at 3.4%. This is now at 2.2%. Let's look at efficiency gap. That was at 6.2% previously. Now, does that say 3.4%?
It does.
3.4%.
And finally, the seats to votes ratio was previously at 2.3%, with having 18 Democratic seats and 18 Republican seats. That is down to 0.3%, with 20 Democratic seats and 18 Republican seats.
Can I just make a correction? I think you meant 19 and 19, right? Instead of 18 and 18.
That is what I meant.
Yep,
Yes,
okay.
thank you.
Thanks for that, Commissioner Ede. So and it looks like a very low proportionality bias, 0.3%. Okay. That's where we're at. How would you like to proceed, Commissioner Kellum?
I would like to proceed in the vein that acknowledges, because I know other commissioners might have had some thoughts based upon the partisan fairness numbers, because there were other commissioners that wanted to see the numbers. So it's my turn, but I want to move in a way that has some consensus on which is the right direction to go.
Is there any discussion, commissioners? Any thoughts on how Commissioner Kellum should proceed? Commissioner Ede?
Besides, because I've already said that I was going to use Chair Zatella's lines to guide 7 and maybe the movement with 5. So knowing that, yeah, thank you, Vice Chair Rothorn.
You're welcome. So Commissioner Ede and then Commissioner Clark.
I believe Commissioner Lett had his hand up
Oh,
first.
thank you. Commissioner Lett, please.
Well, I agree with Commissioner Clark. Commissioner Zatella's plan is an individual commissioner plan and should be viewed that way. If certainly there is no reason that Commissioner Kellum cannot use parts of it as guidance. I would also like to see the percentages, the population percentages, so that we can see exactly what it is. We've seen the partisan fairness. We need to go back and look at the rest of the figures that we always look at.
You mean the
I mean,
plan
they may
deviation?
be so far out of whack we can't use them. I doubt that that's the case, but.
Right.
So it's got a plan deviation of 4.93.
Which for the Senate is under the 5% mark. Is that what we were? I think we were looking for 5%. Okay, so it's within sort of our range. And I think we had several other. Is that what you wanted to sort of look at?
The usual stuff we look at.
So the Polsby Popper. Are you thinking about compactness or?
Yeah, I think about that.
Okay, so I think it's partisan fairness and plan deviation, and then VRA. Is that
right?
Okay, so maybe just VRA then, and then we'll move to Commissioner Ede and then Commissioner Clark. So let's look at the VRA. And these are for gosh, yeah. Which districts do we want to? I guess Mr. Adelson, can you help us walk through, or do you have yeah? How can we best proceed to sort of do a VRA analysis on this map that is from Commissioner Zatella?
Why don't we look at the results for 6 and 8, please?
The two highlighted, it's District 6, District 8. District 6 is 65% Democrat. District 8 is 79% Democrat. And then by the years, Biden, Trump, 2020, 63% Biden, 36% Trump in District 6. District 8 is 78% Biden, 21% Trump. I think it's 2012, we have Obama with 70% in 6, 84% in 8, Romney 30% and 16%. And Peters was 64, James was 36 in District 6, and District 8, it was 78, 79% Peters, 21% James. Stabenow was 65% in District 6, 78% in District 8. James was 36% in the District 6, 21% in District 8. And I'm just going to highlight them so I can keep up with them here. So District 8, Whitmer was 70%, Shute was 31%. Whitmer was 55% in District 6. Shute was 44%, 44.5% in District 6. Dillard was 43.25%. Johnson was 57% in District 6. District 8, Dillard was 58%. And Johnson was 41.6.
So the elections for 6 and 8, the margins are particularly in 8 are narrower than their comparable districts that we've seen previously. The biggest exception that I see is in District 8, could you go to the end, please? Thank you. Secretary of State race, that's one of Dr. Handley's bellwether elections. In that election, I'm getting confused about.
Did I read off the wrong line?
We
Highlight
need
it.
6 and 8.
Highlight it right there is District 8.
All right, go to the end, please.
So it was 75, 76% Dillard, 24% Johnson.
Okay, and that's in 8.
That's
But
an
it was-
8.
So I'm glad that you
Yeah. I
you
saw that.
explained that because I was looking at the wrong district.
I think it was 6 that was a little bit more narrow.
Yeah, 6
Well-
was more narrow and I was looking at 7, so 7 mistaken.
I think when I scrolled across the screen, I got out
Yeah,
offline.
You're losing me. You go too fast. So the elections, the margins are narrower than in other plans that we've seen. But all the bellwether elections prove out where the candidates of choice perform. So this district does appear to, both districts appear to afford minority candidates of choice or minority voters the opportunity to elect candidates of choice. So as I said, the only difference from previous iterations is the margin is narrower, which is, I just point that out observationally rather than opining whether that is determinative because the margins are still pretty big, even though they're not as big as in other plans.
Thank you. Are those the only 2 districts that we should do a VRA analysis on, or?
Well, I was trying to, kind of get a handle on this by just looking at some representative districts, but we could certainly look at additional ones to get a clear idea. Why don't we look at 19 and 17, please? And this is 19, Ken?
Yes, I'm gonna double check before we even start looking at them. I'm trying to get it all lit up. So that line right there is 19.
Okay.
So I'm gonna do just Biden. I mean, just District 19 all the way across. 74% Biden, 26% Trump in 2020. In 2012, Obama got 75%, while Romney got 25%. Peters, I'm getting ready to mess up again. Peters is 75%, James is 25%. Stabenow is 75%, James is 25%, Whitmer was 75%, Shute was 25%, Dillard was 62%, while Johnson was 38%. That was for 19.
Let's look at 17, please.
17 would be 2 rows out. Do it in reverse order, or do we want to do it?
No, that's good. Well, let's do it in reverse order.
Okay, well, we're back now. So, so we have a large Democrat margin over Republicans, index wise, 70% Biden, 30% Trump in 20, 80% Obama, 20% Romney in 12. Peters in 20 and for the Senate race had 75%, while James had 25%.
No, you're down at 19.
Yep, you want to be up,
Jump
you want to
up
be on
to-
17.
Did I? Oh, yeah, here I go again. You know, maybe this is just too complex for me.
You're doing great, Mr. Stegall.
Oh, he broke out Mr. Stegall. Okay. All right, let's just 17. So Peters is 70, James is 30%. Stabenow is 71%, while James was 29% in 2018. Governor's race, Whitmer had 73%, while Shute had 27%. And for Secretary of State, it was 71% Dillard or 72% compared to 28 for Johnson.
Okay, thank you. So the same as with the previous district, the election results are across the board show significant margins for the minority candidates of choice. So this district, based on just what we looked at, does seem to give minority voters the opportunity, particularly Black voters, the opportunity to elect candidates of choice.
All right. And with that, would we say that it's okay? Is that sort of a VRA?
I think that's a VRA. Let's put a check on it
Okay.
and move on to our next assignment.
Very good. So that was Commissioner Lett's question. Now we're to Commissioner Eden, and then we'll get to Commissioner Clark.
Okay, so 2 things. One, I was gonna ask if we could look at 19, 10, and maybe 9 at the El Said primary. And just, I'm not sure if we did or not.
Do you have your mic on? I can't hear you very well.
I was gonna say, I think we should also look at the primary election data for that El Said election for 19, 10, and perhaps 9. We may have done that already, but I'm not sure.
I don't remember.
What I was gonna say is, I think if Commissioner Zatella were here today, she would probably use her turn to incorporate some of this into the collaborative map. So going forward, since the data is better and since it still seems to not mess up any communities of interest that we've already identified, I think we should just look at our collaborative map and use the overlay to configure it this way and be done with it.
Commissioner Orton.
I don't agree with that. I think there are a lot of changes. And unless we want to actually like digest all of this, I think it should be a separate her map.
Okay. So there was a request from Commissioner Ede to sort of review the partisan, the primary elections, general counsel.
Thank you so much, Commissioner. Were you done with your thought?
I just wanted to acknowledge that Commissioner Ede had made a request. Go ahead.
So I would offer the following observation. So the commission has spent time today, again, going through individual commissioner suggestions for incorporation or integration into the collaborative maps, using the collaborative maps as the base. I would just remind the commission that for individual commissioners may submit one of each type of district plan. So one congressional, one state, and one house. You don't have to submit one of all three. You could just submit one map. But the distinction that I would like to draw for the benefit of the commissioners is that if your individually drawn map is put on the shelf with all the other collaborative maps, when the commission votes to decide which maps to publish, it could not be selected. That cannot happen if you submit your individual map individually. Under the Constitution, under subsection 9, each commissioner may submit one plan for each district type. I would highlight and contrast the difference in subsection 14 for the final maps, that if commissioners submit individually proposed maps at that stage of the commission's work, those maps are submitted for the commission's consideration. So there is this distinction at this level. So I just wanted to highlight to make sure that the commissioners were clear that if your map that you're proposing for one of the district types is put into the hopper with the collaborative maps and being considered and all of that, that it could potentially not be advanced, and that cannot happen if you submit it individually. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Commissioner Lett.
So,
As a point of clarification, because you kind of said two things there at the end. If they can only submit one map, that's by the amendment. If you submit one now, you can't submit another one later. You only get one bite of the apple.
No.
General counsel.
Well, if that's not true, you still can only have one map. You can't have this one and then another one.
No, Commissioner Lett, through the chair to Commissioner Lett, the distinction between subsection 9 and subsection 14, at both points in the process, commissioners may submit individual maps. The distinction is we're at the subsection 9 portion of the commission's work, which is going into the second round of public comments. It states that the Constitution states that individual commissioners may submit one plan for each district's type. The distinction between subsection 14 is when you are able to do that at the final stages of your work, those maps are submitted for the commission's consideration. So they're treated differently at this stage of the process and later in the process. You may submit an individual map at this stage under subsection 9 and again under subsection 14. It's just how they're treated in the process is slightly different. And I wanted to make sure that the commissioners were aware of that because there's been quite a bit of conversation over the last day and a half in regard to individual and collaborative maps.
So it's your position that they could submit two.
General counsel.
They can submit, again, under subsection 9, you can submit one plan for each type,
That's one.
correct? And then under subsection 14, they can submit a plan for the commission's consideration.
That's two. And
Yes,
my
under
interpret-
subsection C.
My
subpart A.
interpretation is if they submit one now, that carries over to 14. They can only submit one plan.
Mr. Chair?
General counsel. You have the floor if you'd like to respond, or do we, what's?
I would. That is a very interesting statement, and I would like to report back to the commission on that. Thank you, Commissioner Lett.
Thank you. It is Commissioner Kellum's turn and her hand is raised, but we did not actually get to Commissioner Eads' request, which was to review 9, 19, and 10 for the gubernatorial. Was it gubernatorial? Yeah, the elections, the primaries, primaries. Thank you, Mr. Stigala, for bringing that up. Do we know which district you've highlighted or?
Highlighted is District 9.
District 9, okay.
I'm gonna try to be more cautious and make sure we stay online.
Thank you.
So in
Yep.
the state primary, I will get the label straightened out hopefully tonight. Saeed, El
12,000.
Saeed, got 12,419. Was this Whitmer?
That is Whitmer,
Okay,
yeah.
got 20,000. And the third person got 9,500. I
Okay.
can't call all their names.
That's okay. So that's Tanadar. So El Said received 12,000, Tanadar received almost 10,000, and then Whitmer received 20,000. And then we want to move to District 10, which is right below it, which is, okay, so El Said received 11,000. Oop.
El Said was 11,000. Whitmer was 17,842, and then 6,361.
So at this point, 9 and 10 did not have an opportunity to elect at the level that we were expecting potentially.
At the primary.
In the primary, yep. And then we want to get to District 19. And
9 and 10.
And I really am hesitant to call this out like Mr. Adelson, but I see that he is busy at the moment. So I'm, yeah.
But
yeah.
We can read through the election results.
I'm sorry, Mr. Stigall. I was hoping that we might, yeah, I think we should pause for a moment. Sorry. So you have, this is District 9 that you have highlighted?
This is District 10.
This is District 10.
I'm going to double
Okay.
check it because, okay, yes, that is definitely 10.
Great.
Yes.
So, Mr. Adelson, what we have highlighted right now is District 10, and it was 9, 10, and 19 that Mr. Commissioner Ede requested that we do a analysis on the primary, gubernatorial primary, where El Said is in the left column, Tanadar is in the middle, and then Whitmer's on the right, but we only have the total election, right? And so right now highlighted is District 10 with 11,000, right, for Said, 6,000 for Tanadar, and then 17, almost 18,000 for Whitmer. And then just above it is District 9 with 12,000 for El Said, 9,000 for Tanadar, and then 20,000 for Whitmer.
What's the district at the top that is?
That is 8, District 8.
8.
Yep, which is also where the Yemeni population is concentrated with Hamtramck and into the Bangladeshi Yemeni. Yeah. So that is District 8.
Well, thank you. General Counsel and I were talking about this before. We've gone through a lot of iterations of a lot of different maps. And my recollection is that El Said won in 2 districts. Now, I don't recall which map where that was, but these numbers are even different than the margins. In one of those elections, as I recall, he received 42%. That's not reflected here.
Right. Well, but we haven't gotten to that large district yet. So 19 is where we're highlighted now. This is the Dearborn population where there is a large percentage, overwhelming, but 9 and 10 had portions of it. And I think that's why Commissioner Ede was suggesting we look at it. Commissioner Ede, do you want to speak to that? Sorry.
So the district that incorporates Dearborn, okay, in the House map, we had 2 or 3 that elected El Said from the Dearborn Heights area. In the Senate map, I believe we only had 1 that incorporated 19. We had another that got close, but we changed it, and it was in the area of 10 and 9, but we changed it to achieve the correct VRA numbers. And we were left with 1 at that point, which was 19.
So the highlighted district is the district that we've always seen, that's District 19, the Dearborn population, where the primary results show the Middle Eastern community electing El Said the candidate of choice. And is there, in this map, there is that's the district. There is no second district.
I think that may have been created. This is a change that I think Commissioner Zatella incorporated. So she did include both Hamtramck and Highland Park in District 8 here. And I think that opportunity to elect with the Yemeni population is a second district. I don't know that 8 in our original map prior to her changes had that opportunity as a Senate district.
Okay, could we go back to 8 just so we can look at those numbers? Because I remember that in our earlier discussion, that he did appear to be the victor in one of them, but let's just confirm that.
Excuse me, this is District, I think 27. And El Sayed won this district, 27,000 to 24,000. And that is District 27. which is over in
I think he's
Ann
from the Ann Arbor area. So that
Yeah.
So
it's not,
that's
yeah.
two Senate, maybe that's the 2 Senate districts?
No, there's another, he's from the Ann Arbor area. That's district is Ann Arbor. There's a Detroit area district that we were looking at before when we were scrolling down.
Okay, District 8 is also
That's it.
highlighted, and that was the
Don't-
one
don't-
you.
Don't
I'm-
move. That's, okay, that's it. That's District 8. So there's appear to be 2 districts now where the Middle Eastern community by inference is able to elect El Sayed as the candidate of choice. Commissioner Edom, can you just highlight for me, please, in District 8, what part of the district that community might predominate?
Oh, yeah, it will be Hamtramck and the areas directly north of Hamtramck and directly east,
All right, I see.
because that's where the Yemeni population is in the area.
Okay,
And,
great.
and then also further north into the Warren area. So into the Oakland County area. So this does create that community of interest that is sort of 2 distinct ones. So I think what Commissioner Ede was the southern location, if you will, and then there was a northern strip that went into the Oakland County area.
In District 8, and that
All in-
also has a Middle Eastern community?
Correct.
Okay.
It's a Bangladeshi primarily, and apparently, right, the Yemeni population. I don't know that the Bangladeshi are choosing, right, El Sayed, and yeah.
Okay, okay, so that's interesting. One district has the margin is fairly significant. And the other district, District 8, the margin is closer, but there does seem to be an ability to elect the El Sayed as the candidate of choice of the Middle Eastern community.
Okay, thank you. So Commissioner Ede, that wraps up your question, correct? All right. So I'm not seeing any other hands. Commissioner Kellum, we are back to you.
Okay. I think contrary to some thought or opinion, actually, I'm going to integrate Chair Zatella's changes into the collaborative map.
Well, I think she offered them in the spirit of, I don't think she wanted to offer them as hers as much as she was trying to help us struggle less. But this is her map. And so I don't think it's appropriate to actually work from this,
So,
right? This is
Okay.
her map.
I understand that. Oh,
Mr.
okay.
Stegall.
and this is the map I have, the outline overlaid on the work map that had been editing and working on earlier today.
Correct. But yeah. Mhm. And for what it's worth, Commissioner Kellum, I do think that her District 7 and 5, I mean, you could continue working on that and see the changes he had and incorporate it and not change anything else. And it would, right, I think that would respect some of the other commissioners' wishes. It's just an opportunity. Commissioner Orton.
So one major difference I see with District 7 is we had a Lakeshore district. I believe it went all the way around, and hers cuts it in half. So I'm just concerned with, we had spent so much time on communities of interest and things, and now we're drastically changing.
Good
That's
point.
my only comment about that.
I'm glad you pointed that out. I didn't see that. Commissioner Witches.
So I advocate for the Lakeshore district for sure. But having it stretch all the way around to the tip of Clay I always thought was a little bit kind of a stretch, but I do agree, since we worked on that particular piece together, we shouldn't make that change until we're all here, or do anything with 7 and the Lakeshore. But by definition, that is a Lakeshore district.
Yeah. And forgive me, because I'm glad you pointed that out, Commissioner Orton, because I didn't see that change. It really was, I think, as Commissioner Kellum was struggling to try to find which way to go into 2 and where to go into 2. What I saw in the overlay was that there was a way that might work. That was primarily.
So
it.
how about we
yeah.
create a clone and then use this map as a shape file, and I can make the changes. That's what I'm prepared to do with my turn. Other than that, another commissioner can definitely take the reins and do what they please.
Sounds good.
Okay, let me get clear. We're gonna close this plan and go back to where we were and use the overlay to modify it, or we'll just make
That is correct.
a whole new plan.
Nope, what you just said.
So this is what we've been working on for most of the day. And I have as an overlay layer or I thought I had it. Well, I know I do somewhere. Just a moment. Yep, there it is. So this is Commissioner Zella's, the outline of the plan we were viewing just moments ago. It's outlined in red with a certain amount of transparency so you can see through it. And her district 7 is outlined in red right here. And so that's the change area. This is a change, and a little bit down in here.
Okay, let's start by making the changes that would fit into, that would mirror how those districts are configured. Again, my thought process, taking into consideration what has been done, the process of mapping, et cetera, is, I'm not quite convinced this is a drastic change, but any change that's going to move us towards something being more productive, as opposed to us making micro changes and still having to go back and make bigger ones, I'm always going to push in that direction. And previously, I felt like I was in the weeds and didn't hear a lot of suggestions, concrete suggestions from other commissioners. And this seems to massage all the miserable spots that we had while we were previously working through the other map. So just to kind of vocalize what my thought process is.
Great. Commissioner Lett has a hand.
Okay.
Commissioner Kellum, if you do that, like if you look at 7 now and you start making that change that Commissioner Zatella has, that's going to cause a lot of problems over in the thumb. That then you're going to have to deal with that. And zoom back out, Kent. And the same thing with 5. When you make that change, then you got to make 3 more changes. You're going to create a lot of problems for yourself if you do it that way. But it's your turn.
Commissioner Witches.
Can I see the Midland Saginaw area real quick?
So District 1, I'd have to change the color because I think this is 15. So there's change right here. Let me change the color of 1.
I'm fine if I just wanted to take a quick peek at it.
Yeah,
That's it.
it looks like 1 is, well, I can't tell. I don't know where 1 and 15 begin and end.
So that's enough, Commissioner Witches. Oh, okay.
So it appears District 1 is unchanged from Commissioner Zatella's and the work plan that we've been working on.
Commissioner Orton.
Well, just since we went up there, just one issue I see is a little bit of change in Flint, and we had decided we had that as good as we could possibly get it for VRA, and we did not want to touch that at all. So I think we got to do that. And I feel like Steve said there would be so many domino changes that would be significant if we do this. I think we should make a clone and start from there so that we still have our map that we have right now, because I don't like this direction.
So I originally asked for a clone to be made. I'll also say this, and I don't know where it's going to land. This feels like something else. I mean, it's an attempt by another commissioner that I assume that we trust, just like other people have submitted things. And even though it creates changes, if overall it lands us at a better point, and we went over the data, I haven't even really taken a turn, and I'm actually going to prepare to pass because out of respect, I have been passive aggressively talked out of some of the strong choices that I've assertedly vocalized. So, commissioners, I will pass my turn, and then I will leave it to you all to come up with something better.
And Commissioner Weiss, do you want to?
Commissioner Kellum, I was kind of, as Kent was scrolling through, it looks like if you do one district, you will probably have to change a lot of them, and maybe all of them. The way they're intertwined. I do like the map that Commissioner Satella sent in. It does fit a lot of what we're trying to do. Where you go from here, I guess I'm not sure. Thank you.
Commissioner Ede.
Commissioner Kellum is a commissioner, just like all of us. And to me, it looks like she's operating well within our rules of procedure that we've adopted. This already is a clone. We heard earlier today that we want less commissioners to skip their turn. So I'd like to empower Commissioner Kellum to do what she said she wants to do, and it's just an option. We still have the base collaborative plan. This is another collaborative plan, so we have some options. We do need to make changes to the base plan, both to achieve fairness and to achieve a lower population deviation, which the other plan had. So, I mean, we're all talking, we're not really doing anything. I'd like to give Commissioner Kellum the chance to use her turn as she sees fit.
Commissioner Kellum.
Thank you. I don't feel either way because, again, I believe in collaborative spirit. So if it's going to cause undue stress for me to change this whole map and then for someone to take a turn and to work where I left off, then, I won't have to do that. This is just becoming too much, honestly, to listen to.
Mr. Stegall.
This is just a work process idea. How about I copy this 100721 V1 SD plan, make a clone of it, make it a version 2, and then Commissioner Kellum, if she so desires, can make every single change in that plan that is in Zatella's plan. I'm just, a version 2, a version 3, whatever needs to happen.
Can I trust your judgment in terms of whatever is best in process? I don't know the software in and out to know which way will translate better than another. So you can start with a clone though. If that's what you're edging towards.
I think, we can just stop where this plan's at, make a copy of it, and continue on doing whatever the commissioners desire.
Okay.
My memory is that we haven't adjusted for partisan fairness in our original Senate plan, but we were adjusting for partisan fairness in our House plans yesterday and the day before. And I think we all remember how painful that was because we were cutting up communities of interest in our House plan. And I think that's what we're experiencing here right now with our Senate plan, that we worked on these communities and we took public interest, public feedback. We drew these with them. And now in order to achieve criteria number 4, it feels like we're, splitting things up that are truly heartbreaking. I think that's maybe what we're going through right now.
I hear it and I feel it, especially for me to come in like a storm after being sick and being absent. Like I'm just naming the things, right? But if we don't have better suggestions in this moment, in the essence of productivity, which I'm being open for, please don't receive this as if I'm pushing a specific map. But what I heard and saw and felt is that we were at a standstill and there was a suggestion made. And as we have before, we were trying out suggestions. So if there is something better than what Kent is preparing to do, then please do suggest, my turn or not.
I think that has been received. Yeah, I think in many ways, we're grateful for trying to do something that's hard for all of us. So thank you.
So at this point, do I open this copy of what is, this is the version 2. This is what was worked on earlier. This is a direct copy of it. Do we start from this one now? Commissioner Kellum?
Yes.
Okay.
Ken, I don't want to make a mistake and say yes or no to the wrong things. However, you need to make a clone, make the overlay, and so that I can make those changes. That's what I'm saying yes to. So if I get it wrong step by step, don't.
Okay, and well, I'm going to explain as I load this
Okay.
up. This is the exact plan.
Mhm.
It's version 2. It's just a copy of what had been the background. And now I'm going to load up the outline of Commissioner Zatella's plan, just like last time.
Mhm.
So now at this point, we're exactly where we were 3 minutes ago, except this
Yep.
is a copy of it. Commissioner Zatella's plan overlaying it.
Okay.
Is that where we need to be?
Yes.
Commissioner Weiss?
I don't know. I just got something I want to ask. All right, we have this plan, we're working on it, which it has some work to be done. Is it possible to take Commissioner Zatella plan and work on that and try to improve it, make it better?
We can.
Versus, or do we want to do that now or do that later?
I mean, and it is possible, but it's just, I think what I was hearing from other commissioners that there was just strong discomfort that it might not be a collaborative plan. It was more of an individual plan. And that's where I think, we're trying to work from our collaborative plan and what we've worked on collaboratively. And Commissioner Kellum is trying to help us alter our collaborative plan using an outline that, she wants to incorporate into our collaborative.
I hear what Commissioner Weiss's question was because I had the same one. I didn't understand why we had to necessarily do it this specific way, but okay. So Kent, just so I know for sure, these darker lines I want to make sure I'm following the right lines, understanding that I'm looking at it on a Zoom screen.
Okay, the colored or the different filled districts are the districts we're editing and modifying. They're your districts.
So
These
for
red-
example, I'm sorry to interrupt you. For example, Armada
is in District 2. The red outline is the boundaries of Commissioner Zatella's proposed or offered
That's what I
plan.
was. Okay, that's
So
what I was asking.
for example, we're modifying this green area.
Exactly, to
whereas
include that piece.
Right. So
Yeah.
that's what I'm trying to say. These red lines are not going to move. They're going to stay in place. We're not moving those. Can't.
Yeah, I got that. Okay. All right. Let's get started then. So let's go to, I'm gonna have you zoom in and zoom out so I can, and Kent, please help me keep track because it looks crazy on my end.
It's not easy.
Yeah, but it's okay.
Well, let me zoom in right here. For example, I'm gonna cut the
Okay.
labels off.
So,
This is District 7 that we've been
Yep.
working on. This is
Yep.
District 6. Her proposed District 6 is the outline here.
so I'd like you to assign Groves Point Park to District 6.
Okay.
And unassign that area in District 7. It's like a part, I'm sorry, am I moving too fast, Kent?
No, I
Okay.
assigned this water area
Okay.
to 6, and that is not what I intended to do. Just a moment, I'll catch up. I'm gonna do it a little smaller increments.
That's fine.
Okay, the overlay goes, this area of 6 is in
Mhm.
District 7 of Commissioner Zatella's plan.
So can you swap that, meaning unassign that district? Or assign it to District 7 and not District 6?
Yes, ma'am. Move this area into 7.
Yes, please. And then I believe that area that looks like it should be in 5 and not 6. It's green where it should be that like pinkish color. Yep, right there.
Yes, ma'am. This into 5.
Yes, please. And then while you're down there, that area that's in orange should be green. I'm looking at it correctly. The area to the left. Yep. Yes. Okay.
So actually, at this point, District 7 is 0.83% high. District 5 is a little bit high. And that's if, before even making any more changes. All right.
Yeah.
ready?
So you're going to assign that area and then unassign the area to the east. So that's no longer 7. That's actually 25.
Yes, ma'am. So this goes into 7.
Kent, you don't have to say yes, ma'am. I know that's your Southern charm, but it makes me
I'm
feel
just
too authoritative.
I'm being respectful.
Oh, well, I appreciate it.
Trying to be.
Thank you, sir. And then Yeah, that small area that's identified as New Haven should be pulled into District 7 as well, assigned to District 7. Let me use the correct terminology. And then okay, go ahead and do what you were gonna do.
So it looks like currently this is in 5 and
Yeah.
she has it in 2.
Okay, so you can unassign that area and reassign it to 2, please. Thank you. And then we've still got that area to the east of District 7 that needs to be pulled into 25 and unassigned to District 7. That Algonac, Green City. Okay, the area that is just above District 2, can we assign that, unassign it to District 2 and reassign it to District 25?
This is just an off the cuff question. Are we going to make this plan exactly like Ms. Zatella's?
No,
or
it doesn't.
Or just partially? Okay.
Partially,
continue.
because then my turn will go all day. But I was
Okay.
just, that was just visually getting on my nerve. That's an honest thinking. So you can change that. And
I
then-
just,
Okay, yeah,
catch up.
yeah. And then scroll down. Wasn't it
All right, we got a
something?
little piece in here that is a little different. We'll put this into 25. That's where her boundary is.
Mhm.
Okay, at this point, District 5 is at 2%. District 7 is less than 1% over.
Say those numbers
And-
again. So I was looking at something else. So say it
Yeah,
again.
District 8 is 15,000 under.
Mhm. Let's
And from what I
fix-
can tell, 5 and 7 match
Mhm.
the other plan perfectly.
Okay, let's fix 8. Probably 17 as well.
So
Mhm.
put this area in 8.
Yes, please. And then we'll need to adjust 19. And then I think I'm gonna bow out gracefully after that. I'm not sure.
Well, that's not right.
I thought you were being creative, Kent.
No, that's not me. I'm more destructive than creative.
Don't say that.
Okay. So it now looks like 8 matches
Mhm.
the overlay plan.
Can we fix 19 first? And then I'm fine with you saying that. It's probably 19 and 9.
Okay, well, we got 17 and 19 right here. So
So those areas that are not assigned to 19, can you assign them? They're left out.
So you want this, is this the area we speak
Yes.
of?
Yes.
You want that to go into 17? They're in 19 now.
Oh, I'm sorry. Assign it to, thank you. Assign it to 17. My apologies.
Right? It gets confusing.
Yeah. I was like, why does he keep asking me that? Yes. No, I wasn't saying the right thing. And then the area right above, just north of, yep. And we put that into District 9.
Okay. Okay, so 17 and 19 fit the overlay,
Okay.
but 17 is still 3.3% high. And then
Uh,
this area is in 12 in the overlay plan.
Okay, can you put that into 12 and 17 is still high? What does it have that it's not supposed to?
Okay, 17 now is 1.63% high and 12 is 1.89. I'm looking, District 11's not in this area. 7 is less than 2% high.
What do you mean District 11 is not in the area? I see
Well,
District 11.
What District 11 is 2.9% high, but we haven't modified that
Oh,
district.
that's what you're saying.
So it's off the screen. It's not in the area that's being edited. Well, yes, it is. It's right there.
Yeah,
11.
I was just quiet because I was like, well, I see it. I don't know. Maybe
Well,
I'm
all right. You know, there's a little precinct here
okay. So
that
can
she
you?
has put into 9.
Oh, we'll put
And
that
that
into
would-
9. Put that into 9. This is the part that I do care to mimic.
Okay, so now I think we'll look at the numbers here.
2.
5 is 2.01%. District 2 is well under. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Can we grab all those
and-
areas?
So this area actually should go, she has going
In
into 16.
correct. And then that area to the
And then you
west.
got,
Yeah.
you got all this area up here goes in the 2, this goes in the 2.
Okay, let's get it done.
All right, we'll start up here. That's a 16 and 2 line up. So 16 matches her overlay. Now 2 is
Mhm.
significantly different because all this is different. This is different. 2 needs quite a bit of population. So continue on. Shall I?
Yeah. Yes.
So this would be in 2. I'm just highlighting it. So this should go in, okay. And then this goes into 18.
Into
by her.
18.
Okay. So now we have 14 and 15 significantly low. Yeah, because this area should be in, according to her overlay, goes into 14.
So assign that area into 14.
Okay, so back up to the 2, I think. A 2 appears to be aligned, and now we have 15, 4, 15, and 25 change, and then 35 changes, and 32. Okay, continue with 15.
Yes.
That's a
Sorry,
question. Okay. Just getting it straight.
And
My
Commissioner
voice
Kellum-
didn't allow me to say yes. Yes, Vice Chair.
Commissioner Kellum, can we explore, because there was, this is where Commissioner Orton was drawing my attention to earlier, and I think all of us,
Mhm.
but in the Flint area,
Mhm.
we had a VRA district. And so to see the changes to that district, it may be
Yeah.
important to, I mean, for me to
Okay.
understand it. Thank you for putting those dots out, that's the African-American population. Ken?
Yes, that's Black alone population. I should probably use the Black
Combination?
Yeah, combination. It's about a 1% higher from
Okay.
what I've seen. I'm going to bring it up here just
And so I just wanted to offer, because it is, I'm just recognizing my heart is just really, yeah. And I think thank you for doing this, Commissioner Kellum, because I think we do, right, as you stated, it's hard to know, and many of us don't have a good handle on it. And we have a commissioner who has put together something, and as you're shifting one, we're seeing that everything else shifts, and that's the point. And it usually is, go ahead, Commissioner Kellum. Well,
No,
just that
and
idea that, it's just that idea that I think this area for me, because we spent so much time on it, when one commissioner does it, and as you're shifting, I think it would be important for me to hear Mr. Adelson and to help us understand this shift and to read it somehow, like, or to sort of make sure that this is a, right.
I would agree, and I would encourage, my buddy Bruce to chime in if if he's available to do so, as well as all the other experts in the room.
He is.
Yeah, because again, my thought is that if we get it right in the areas that are of VRA concern, and a lot of that, unfortunately, or fortunately, I don't really mean to say unfortunately, started in the Metro Detroit area. And there was something about this configuration that I thought was real right, especially being from the community. And as I've learned and experienced with Bruce and Dr. Hanley, as they've talked it out, it seems that this was a big and brave decision to kind of create that impact. Now, if we switch it and change it later, fine, but I was interested in making a big shift so that we can get most of it right, instead of continuing to make these small, tiring changes. That was my only thought.
Yes, thank you. So I guess I just wanted to, it's just, let's slow down a little bit here. And before you make the shifts, or ask Mr. Stegall to make the shifts, let's just record some numbers. This is District 4 and the VRA that we've got. And Mr. Adelson, you're with us at this point, right? Yes, I see you. There you are. Thank you. So we have a 27.95 Black voting age population in District 4. And that was compliant. I think we were looking at, actually, that's below the threshold, but it was I think there was a maximum. We weren't able to max it out, right? It was maxed out. And so I think what we're looking for now is to see, has Commissioner Zatella found a different configuration that increases that from 27.95 non-Hispanic Black voting age population? Is that?
So the 2795 is not Commissioner Zatella's plan?
That is correct. It is not. It is, let's say, our Senate collaborative plan that we more or less approved.
Okay. So if there's a difference, could we see what the difference is in what Commissioner Kellum is working on now? I guess that's Commissioner Zatella's plan. Let's see what the difference is.
You got it. That's why we're paying attention and just slowing down the process just for this moment. Go ahead, Commissioner Kellum. Oh, sorry, Mr.
Kent has something to say. Yep.
I was just going to say, this is the area now that will go into 4 according to this outline.
Yeah, so I'd like you to assign that area into 4.
And that's District 4's number right now, 27.95. Okay, I'm going to move this area into 4. It went down approximately 0.5%. And now I'm going to move this one into 4.
And you know what? It occurs to me, sorry, Kent, can you just, okay, I believe one of the things that we were looking at in this, because it wasn't just the Black voting population, it's also the Hispanic population. And so at this point, it's a little bit too, we can't see that column. It's just a column, Kent. If you move the voting mate, yeah. So
we can go off a non-Hispanic white. So if this district is 63% non-Hispanic white, then everything else is minority, and we can say that's 37%
minority. Okay. And we just don't know what it was before. And that's okay. We'll just.
Correct. And we can back it up and look at it however many times is necessary.
Thank you.
But 4 reduced down to 27.27 non-Hispanic Black.
Yep.
I'll put them back.
Nope. But so it did reduce, and we just don't know if it increased the Hispanic or not.
So am I correct that we had a map where Flint, there were 2 black plurality districts, was that in the Senate or in the House?
I think you're thinking about the House where we
Okay.
split Flint and had a north and a south.
Okay.
Correct.
So with the Senate, and I think we even talked about this when we were talking about the House, because the Senate is, the districts are bigger. So you need to add additional population, of course, to balance out the district. And that's with the House, you have more of an opportunity to do what the commission did at the time. So in the area around Flint to the west and to the southwest, you do have population that is not the same as downtown Flint or on the north side of Flint. But you need population. So where you get that from is going to impact the minority population. As we talked about with the earlier iteration, this is below Dr. Handley's threshold. And I think we had, in a way, with the House, we described the House as kind of an experiment that was worth going for. Here, the number, just as in the previous iteration, is lower than what Dr. Handley has. So we can certainly look at the election results, and we made inferences about the Hispanic population, remembering we don't have voting pattern analysis. So it's just an inference. It's not analytically based. So we could certainly, if these are the only changes to the Flint district, we can look at the election results and see what they say.
Okay, and just to acknowledge, it is 0.6%, so less than 1%, but it is a decrease in the Black voting age population, this particular one, and it's significantly underpopulated. Well, so I shouldn't say significant. I should stop using that word. It's just 2% underpopulated. Okay.
Well, which also brings up the point that, I mean, you can take out like precincts on the western side, northwest or southwest, to balance the population. You can add in population, but if you're adding population in, that could dilute the existing Black population.
Which is, I think, why, we were so concerned about this, because we had added as many as we could, and there was a significant effort on our part. Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. So to balance this, I would suggest, Commissioner Kellum, that there may be precincts that can be removed that currently may have a dilutive impact, because I agree with you that there really isn't a lot of nearby population that you can bring in to increase the Black population. Reaching out into other places, we've talked about how that may raise concern. So my suggestion is looking at areas, and it's tough. I mean, there are, going to the east, there are some areas around Lapeer and to the west of Davison that may be helpful to deal with the underpopulation, if you'd like to explore adding them.
No, I think that was useful. Commissioner Kellum, I want you to keep proceeding. I just wanted to slow down for that moment. Thank you.
And Bruce, just to remind me, what was your suggestion? What did you say? I think you were saying to pull in Black population, but there weren't a lot of options.
Right. Yes, Commissioner Kellum, there aren't a lot of areas around Flint beyond what's being displayed in the current district that would not have a potential dilutive effect. There are communities to the east near Davison and Lapeer Heights that may provide less of a dilutive impact, but the population just isn't very big. That's part of the configuration around Flint. It also could be, that as we talked about, underpopulating districts for VRA purposes is a legitimate justification under US Supreme Court precedent. So that's certainly something to consider, certainly at this point, because we're not at the final stage. So if this is something that folks are comfortable with, the deviation is certainly in line with precedent. That's something for now, after we look at the election results, that could certainly be advisable.
How would you like to proceed, Commissioner Kellum?
Thank you. Can you zoom out some more?
I'd like to point out that the changes around, I mean, I think it was spoken, but the District 4, the changes that were made there decreased the non-Hispanic Black by 0.6% or 0.5%, something like that.
And as a point of comparison, let's look at the election results. I mean, if they show that any significant change, that'll tell us something. If they don't, then I think we might be okay for now. How does that sound?
That sounds great.
Thank you.
Okay, this is District 4. In the 2020 presidential election, Biden won 62% to Trump's 38%. 2012 presidential, President Obama won the district 70% to 30. In the Senate in 2020, Peters won the district 63% to James's 37%. The Stabenow won it in 18, 65% to James's 35%. Governor 2018, Whitmer won 67% to 33% for shoot. And and then Secretary of State, Dillard won 65% to Johnson's 35%.
Thank you. So Commissioner Kellum and Commissioner Rothman, the elections all prove out, all the bellwether elections do. The margins are, say, 1.5 times. I think the margins are pretty proportionate to what they were previously. So the elections are all indicating that this is based on these, the ability to elect district. So I would suggest that the election results are okay. My thought is that putting a check mark here and moving to another district. What do you think, Commissioner Kellum?
You're on mute.
That's fine. Yep, I saw that I muted myself. I agree, Bruce.
Okay, moving on, we have, man, let's get back over here, total population. District 15 is 30,000 low, while District 25 is 40,000 high. So I guess that would be this area in here. This is the overlay District 15.
Right. So you can assign, I'm sorry, go ahead, Kent.
No, I'm listening.
Okay, so you can assign that to 15, unassign that area that is, was for 25 and assign that to 15. And then you'll have to unassign the area to the east that's included, I think. No, never mind. I think I'm getting the lines crossed. No, I think I was right. I think you have an extra area, that purple area outside of 15. Yeah, that needs to be assigned to, what is that, 18 over there? District what? What is that?
This is 35.
Oh, 35. 35. I just made up a number.
Okay.
My apologies.
Just for an aside, we don't, I mean, depending on what you want to do, but right now we can do a little bit or some of it or all of it. There's enough leeway there to do it as you choose. So I'm going to move this row into 35 to start. So District 15 is the ideal number. And well, I say District 15 is 0.59% high, while District 35 is 1.13 high. So I don't, whether you choose to make this change or not, these numbers have fit what's been done in the past, might be the right word.
Say that last part again, Kent.
What I'm saying is percentage wise, I'm just trying to read you the numbers. 15 is less than 1% high.
Okay, that's fine.
35 is 1.13% low. 32 is 2.88% high. So you want to move these two or one or?
I was gonna say you can move that and then move the purple area and then that would fix. And then Commissioner Clark has his hand.
Yeah, I think I saw up north on 35, some areas that had need to be moved out. If you could scroll to the top of 35, which would decrease the population.
Yeah. Kent, I fibbed to you earlier when you said, were we doing the whole thing? Just,
Yeah,
I
Well, that's why
apologize.
I was just kind of,
Yeah.
wanting to say, if at some point you want it to stop, I think you're getting
Yeah.
close if you want it.
you see
I'm
over
almost there, but I feel like I might as well kind of.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hey, we'll roll with it.
You see over on the west end what I was talking about? Yeah.
Yes,
Mhm.
sir.
So Kent, it's okay for you to fix the.
Okay, I'm gonna keep going.
Area that Commissioner Clark just
I'm gonna put this
suggested.
into this back into 15. So this is 15. So put this in 15 as it's laid out here. So I'm just going to select it. And if I'm put this in 15, it'll match the overlay. And that's the other way around.
Yeah, I'm like, I think
Sorry.
it should go in.
I know, I get it.
35. Okay.
Yeah. This into 35 as well.
Mm-hmm.
So now 35 is a little bit high and we'll go up here and adjust it up there. .33 is low, so this will, this will fit comfortably. So, well, we got one more to go into 33. So at this point, 33 is 1.84% high, 35 is 1.33. Now there's more, there's more edits, all over this, all over the map. If you want to continue on.
We can do a couple more and then I'm gonna stop.
Okay. So we'll go to 36, 34.
Mhm.
And the way this is laid out, this area would go into 36.
Okay, that can go into 30, assign that to 36 and unassign it from 34.
So 36 is right at 2%. 34 is just 1.28% low. Okay, so all the numbers are looking so right now they're all in the green, but the overlay still has some changes in some areas, which would be, here's one right here. This would be moving these two townships
Yeah,
into 3.
so we should do that.
Okay, I'm looking now for any other changes or differences between the plan and the overlay.
And with that change, I do see that the overall plan deviation is down under 5%, which is where we were when we were looking at the original and ran the numbers, the population deviation. Commissioner Witches.
Could you check for discontinuities?
Yes.
Ken? I guess an overall plan errors.
So here's a census block. It's a
It should
water
go into
block.
6. So assign that to 6.
Yes, it got left out as District 7. I'm moving it to 6.
Is the computer giving us a sign?
Yes, it seems to be that there's probably a geographic or graphic sliver in here that is causing that water block not to go to 6. But it's 0 population, so I don't think it's something we have to be real concerned about.
Okay. And Commissioner Richards, are you okay if we just sort of ask Mr. Stegall to sort of run this or check for discontiguities and move on? Or
Yeah, that's fine. And then also unassigned areas, because it does show 1959 being unassigned, and then we could potentially run the numbers for the partisan fairness.
okay. Commissioner Clark?
Can we look at District 23 for a minute? It's over near Grand Rapids somewhere.
Here's one little sliver that's unassigned.
So can assign that, please?
I'm gonna stick it in 14. It looks like that's where it belongs.
Yes, you're right.
Yeah, I think
this is, excuse me.
23 was northwest of Grand Rapids. It just looks so small for a Senate district. That's why I wanted to look at it.
District 23 is East Grand Rapids, Wyoming.
Okay, all right, good.
And it's the same as what was in the collaborative map.
Okay.
That's unchanged.
Okay, I'm good. Thanks.
All right. So Commissioner Richards, I want to make sure that we got, you were suggesting that we do run the numbers, but I guess what I'm offering is we did that earlier. And I think, you know what I mean? Like when we actually incorporated, like brought her whole plan in, Commissioner Zatella ran the numbers. Is that okay? So here's, Commissioner Kellum, do you feel like are you ready to sort of, do you feel complete? Does this feel like a good time to stop your turn?
Absolutely. Yeah. I think
right.
I am pleased with the direction. I'm not going to say the effort that I made because this is Chair Zatella's map, but the direction that I'm encouraging us to move towards. So yeah, I'm content with my turn.
Thank you, Commissioner Kellum. So what I'm going to do is it's 6 o'clock, and what I think, and it's Thursday, and we've got we're working. Tomorrow's our next day. Feels like it's been a pretty tough day, and I think so. What I'm going to try to do right now is with all of us is I'm going to try to talk a little bit about schedule, a little bit and sort of the agenda that is on that schedule. What I mean is we've been trying to do compliance for the last week, right? And trying to figure out what does that mean and when does our compliance finish? And my understanding right now is that we actually don't finish our compliance until after we go through the public hearings, meaning that's part of our schedule. And then we have deliberation after that, which is also part of our compliance process. So with that, and what I mean is, and then we finalize with votes. And so what I want to do is see if there's someone who can walk us through where we are, not only on sort of our agenda, meaning like our compliance agenda, the things that we do during our schedule, like our scheduled meetings, and help us understand maybe what does tomorrow look like? Do we have to work on the weekends? If not on the weekends, when do we, like, how close are we? General counsel, can you help us with that? And commissioners, does this feel like a good use of our time for the last hour? Is that what we need? What I'm really worried about is our morale. I'm just worried about that we're all going to come back tomorrow. Commissioner Orton?
Well, this is not about that, but while Kent is doing this, I just want to know what this plan is going to be saved as, because I feel that it should be saved with Rebecca's initials or something. It is her
And that's,
plan, quite different from.
and that's how we
what we
did
were
the
working
8,
on.
right? That's how we did the congressional maps. Good point, Commissioner Orton. Yeah, so let's put I think it's RAS that she's been doing.
Well, it's there now. It's already been uploaded. So I just put a tag in here. I can say direct duplicate of this. I mean, we can give it a, see, we already have.
Yeah, we did, but is that okay, Commissioner Orton, the way it's done?
I'm
Okay.
just, I'm trying to keep it straight. I could give it the same name with the different date, but I still think it would be important to have some idea where it came from and how it got there.
Okay,
Yeah, I just wanted it
Okay.
so different so that when we're pulling up our collaborative map, we know which thing we're talking about.
Okay. How shall it be named? I just don't want to duplicate. We can make it that name 1007 version 2. I don't know. I mean, this is y'all's.
I
It's
don't
not
know either.
mine.
I don't know either. I just want it clear. So, because it seems like when we go to pick up a plan, we have a little bit of hard time distinguishing which plan was that and which one do we want.
Commissioner Eid and then Commissioner Clark. Did you, and I think what we're trying to do is help Mr. Stegall actually comply with Commissioner Orton's request. So Commissioner Eid or Commissioner Clark, can you speak directly to that?
Yeah, it says 10-7-21 V2 SD for Senate District. Just add RAS after it.
It's fine with me as long as y'all.
It's
That other one does not say V2. It just has the date.
okay. And
Is
then
is that the way we imagine it right here? So it's just, 2 different days. Okay.
Well, actually, can you go to the rename tool again? I think we should put the version on it, which you missed. So
So I guess they should, they're identical. So they're the same version. And it's not a second, it's a duplicate. It's not another version of, there's no changes to it, but
So we
whatever
want-
you want, I'm doing it.
well, actually, but I appreciate what you're saying is that it's not a second version. It is a duplicate. So let's not name it. Are you okay with that, Commissioner Eid?
just whatever.
Yeah,
it's just a
so the
name.
way you've named it is appropriate, Commissioner Stegall. Yeah, let's just do duplicate. Oh, it's got label copy, because that's been, yeah. And I believe
It's still going to be important, a month from now to have something other there going, a duplicate of what? So how about this? And just bear with me 1 minute. I'm just trying to make it structured.
thank you for helping
It already
us.
exists. But if I come here and I hit configure, we can put in a tag or a description. Duplicate of this.
That's good.
No, it's a direct duplicate. It's just a photocopy of it. There's nothing different in it
Yeah.
at all.
And this reminds me, go ahead, Commissioner, Ms. Reinhardt. Your mic's not on.
I guess I was just gonna ask, does the approach and how it was produced matter? Because Commissioner Zatella's was an individual submission, whereas the one produced today, while it's an exact copy, was collaborative.
I think this is where, right, if we, think back to what we did with Commissioner Eads in the congressional maps, right? Today, we also did something similar, right? Commissioner Clark had a submission, Commissioner Ead did a submission, and we sort of put them on the same shelf, so to speak. They were.
I think what Sarah, I'm sorry.
Go ahead, Commissioner Kellum, please.
I think what she's trying to articulate is that what my recollection is both Commissioner Clark and Commissioner Ead essentially facilitated their own discussion of their map, but I actually took a turn and chose to replicate something that I stood by.
Agreed, and I think it's a collaborative, like the other congressional maps are also collaborative maps, right? We put them in our versions of collaborative maps. So I think this, therefore, like, is also a collaborative map. Is there any objection to that? It feels like it's the same sort of thing that we did with the congressionals. Is it,
But,
Mr. Stegall?
you know, from an organizational point, when I upload those, these are different. You know, AE, DC are truly different from the plans they came from. And this, there's nothing different about it. Now, what we could do is maybe put Commissioner Kellum's initials on it. I mean, I'm just trying to help y'all 2 weeks from now or 3 weeks from now going, what's the difference in these two plans?
And this is the first
And
time we're in.
spend hours looking to find the difference and then realize there is no difference.
Commissioner Kellum, go ahead.
This is a clarifying question. Is this a distinction that's necessary to be made, or does this maybe come from the fact that we didn't like the way the map was drawn, that we're needling how it's labeled?
No, I think we're truly trying to understand, are we being fair in our process and labeling it, and how are we doing this, right? I think each of us, sometimes it feels like we know what the collaborative map is and sometimes we don't, right? And I think that's kind of where we're at right now, is we're struggling. Commissioner Ead.
So I think it is a collaborative map because I happened in the meeting and used the collaborative map as the base. So what are we deciding? Or we just need a name?
It has been named. Is there any objection to having it as a collaborative map?
Where are you in semantics?
Yeah, Mr. Chair, can I,
Help me, please.
because thank you so much. So, Mr. Chair, what I would recommend is these maps that were addressed and worked on today and yesterday, for that matter, the commission participated in the discussion. Things were integrated, things were modified after they were integrated. Again, all of these collaborative maps are going to be voted on, whether to publish or not publish. My recommendation is that the commission just utilize a very straightforward manner of distinguishing between collaborative plans at this point, based on the work that's been done over the past 2 days, is if it was presented in the session, worked on, worked through, adjusted, that be considered a collaborative map, with the distinction between an individual map being a commissioner who brings a plan forward that they do not wish to be considered for integration or incorporation, that it would be a standalone map, and that it just be that straightforward at this point.
Thank you, General Counsel. Are there any objections to what she just said? No, Commissioner Witches. Great. So that's what that's our definition. And I think we're okay with the way that's named. Commissioner Witches.
Okay, so that's fine and dandy and it is collaborative, but to me, what we just spent an hour on goes against what we've done many, many, many times before in the past. And we basically just took someone's individual map and made it collaborative by just redoing it on ours. I don't think that was appropriate at all whatsoever. This happened with Anthony yesterday or 2 days ago, and we said, no, we're not doing this. This happened with Doug two days ago yesterday, and say we're not going to touch one particular side of the map. I personally don't want to really see that happen again, because not only is it a colossal waste of time, we could have just made a copy of the map and say it's collaborative at that particular point, but we just spent an hour and a half going over something that was already done and we didn't get anywhere.
Agreed. Commissioner Orton.
I agree 100%. We could have just taken that whole map, or she could have just submitted that whole map. So, yeah, I agree.
And I think to be fair, I think what Commissioner Kellum was asking from us is like, she was trying to figure out how does she map? And we didn't have any ways to help her, right? Achieve partisan fairness, again, with the compliance. And this is why I wanted to review where we are, how we're trying to proceed with compliance. And I think it's not just about the mapping, it's also like how we're mapping, right? We're trying to achieve compliance, better partisan fairness ratios. And I think what Commissioner Kellum was asking was, help me. And the best we had was something that Commissioner Zatella had done. We weren't able to help her. Do you remember? I mean, I guess that's what I'm saying is like, again, like, you're right. We didn't use our time well. And okay, Commissioner Clark.
No, I agree with Dustin. I don't think it's a collaborative map. And then I think we wasted, no disrespect to Brittany. I mean, we let her go that direction. I think we should have still kept working the direction we did. To me, this is just a copy and no different than an individual submission should be.
So I think what I'm trying to do is we're going to beat ourselves up. We did we're tired, right? And we've got an hour left, a little less than that. And I want us to come back tomorrow somehow feeling like we're not. Yeah. What are we going to do? Commissioner, General Counsel, and then Commissioner Witches.
Thank you. So certainly I acknowledge the statements by Commissioner Witches and Commissioner Clark. The distinction that I would make, and again, and I agree, you have 2 days left, 2 days on our countdown. I agree. The distinction is my understanding of the changes that Commissioner Clark brought forward on the congressional map, that he did not want to submit that as an individual map. The changes that Commissioner Zatella brought forward, that she did not want to submit those as an individual map. So I think, again, that's an important distinction. And I believe the same was true for Commissioner Eads' proposed changes, but I don't remember that clearly being stated, so I don't want to overspeak. The distinction, I think, again, is that for the collaborative maps, and I see my notes, we have 2 for the House, 2 for the Senate, and 2 or 3 where we are for congressional. And I use the word, since we've been debating the definition of what collaborative is, I'm using collaborative very loosely at this point, only to make the point that those maps, the commission will vote on which ones to publish and which ones will not be published. So again, the commission, and that will be a formal vote. That is not a consensus vote. That will be a formal vote. So regardless of how the commission chooses to categorize the maps that have been produced to date, there are 2 days left to make the any final adjustments that the commission wants, and to deliberate and vote upon the proposed plans that they wish to publish, to go into the second round of public hearings, and then move into the final adjustments and deliberation phase, which is critical to be able to react to the public comment provided to the commission. So that is what I would offer, is that you'll have the voice, each individual commissioner will have their voice heard by their vote on the maps.
Okay, thank you. I see Commissioner Lang's hand.
Mine's totally off topic, but since Julianne brought it up about voting for which maps we want to bring forward, then can we definitely make sure we have them, when they're saved, a specific headline to it? Because when I'm going through the maps now, some commissioners have submitted 5 sets of the same maps with different variations, and then you've got V2, V3, V1. So could we get a definitive type of tag on it, so I know when the time comes what maps to review to vote on? We're getting quite the list there. So I think what Cynthia was saying about labeling them, that would be helpful. So when the time comes, we truly know. If I'm reviewing them the night before, I don't want to review 20 maps. I would like to review the ones that we're going to vote on. That's it. It was a little off topic, but.
No, but it's helpful, Commissioner Lang. Thank you. That idea of, so are we going to be able to address that? Well, Mr. Adelson, and then I see Commissioner Kellum, and then Commissioner Clark.
Thank you, Commissioner Rothorn. You had mentioned earlier about, kind of having some takeaways, and yes, long day, long week, a lot got done. And I'm not familiar with the naming distinctions that you've been talking about. So I want to just like cut to at least to the chase for me. You have 6 or 7 maps that they've been vetted, evaluated, adjusted. We looked at for compliance. You have a lot, now you have a lot of choices, which I think is great, that you can now evaluate, perhaps even starting tomorrow, and make decisions about and express your preferences. So we had talked early in the process that you have 160 approximately total districts to map. You've done that, and you have now options and choices to bring forward in your collective discussion and deliberation, and then decide which maps to bring forward. So if you're looking for something very positive, man, I mean, I think that's pretty positive, that you now have active choices to make decisions about either way and decide what to bring forward. So that's how I look at it in the 2 days that are remaining to begin the discussions to move forward to your next stage.
Thank you, Mr. Adelson. Commissioner Kellum.
I will also thank Bruce for that edifying word, because I needed to hear that, but I am feeling a little discouraged and disrespected only because I watched Monday's meeting, and what I did today was the same thing that was done on Monday regarding Dustin's suggestion, and pulling from what I saw, pulling that into a collaborative incorporated map so that I'm clear moving forward. And I'm sure this question will stand for other commissioners. What is the process going to be if we do get an email like something that we see, we figure it out ourselves, and that's the turn that we elect to take? I just saw a lot of dissension that really didn't make much sense to me, because we ran the numbers and it was a viable plan, and that's the turn that I chose to take after being encouraged to do so. So I just briefly wanted to raise that, because what I do believe happened today was the same thing that happened on Monday.
Thanks, Commissioner Kellum. Commissioner Clark.
Yeah, I just had a quick question. Are we planning on doing this voting on Tuesday? Because I think we can submit individual plans up through Monday.
That's a great segue, Commissioner Clark, because that is what I'm hoping we do in the next half hour or less.
Okay, great.
Is just try to get a sense of what's happening tomorrow, what's happening. Do we need to work on the weekends? How much do we? Yeah, it doesn't look like that's even an option. Okay. But
No.
we do have Monday and Tuesday, and then we have our public hearings, and then we have more deliberations. And I think I want to help us prepare for that and help us understand how we continue with this compliance tomorrow, especially. General
Good.
Counsel.
I'll be patient and wait for that then. Okay.
Thanks, Commissioner Clark. General Counsel.
Thank you so much, Mr. Chair. So tomorrow, based on the number of plans of each district type that the commission has worked through during their compliance analysis, that the recommendation is that you start deliberating and record keeping tomorrow on the collaborative plans. The individual commissioner plans are due. There's no scheduled meeting this weekend. We're gonna walk slow. Your summary was accurate, Mr. Chair, but we're gonna slow walk it. And then I know Executive Director Hammersmith is going to take over. That tomorrow, the recommendation is to start the deliberation and record keeping on the collaborative plans that are in the hopper at this time. On Monday, the individual plans are due so that the individual commissioners can present those plans on Monday. And the vote can either occur on the collaborative plans on Monday, but yes, into the schedule, it's built that you can go into Tuesday. But again, the sooner that the commission wraps up the work, the sooner we'll publish and move forward to the public hearings, and the more time the public will have to interact not only with the data, but with the proposed plans. So that is the recommendation in the near period of time. And I will turn it over to Executive Director Hammersmith to continue that walk.
Thank you. Director Hammersmith.
So if we're all together on that, the future commission meetings schedule that has been on your agenda is there for tomorrow, Monday, and Tuesday for those 3 days of work. After that, then the information will be published on our website so the public can look at the data ahead of the public hearings. So the sooner you have deliberations made, even if you would have one of the sets ready tomorrow, you would deliberate and say you have, congressional or state senate or state house ready to go. We can then forward that appropriately for that data to start being put together to be published. So the sooner the better on those. After the public hearings, those 2 weeks of public hearings, then there are the additional final deliberations to determine the proposed maps that will be put forward for that 45-day period of public comment.
Director Hammersmith, Commissioner Orton.
Yes.
Please.
Do you have the same question, maybe?
It may be, yeah.
So that time of deliberation after the public hearings, then we will be voting on the one of each map that we'll be putting forward. Is that correct?
It could be one, or it could be more than one that you would put forward at that time for that 45-day period of public comment. And
And then the last day we will vote.
you get
Okay,
to
very
vote
good.
on after those 45 days on December 30th, then you would vote. Then
Okay.
you only get to choose one.
Okay, and then the last, maybe, so, and we are deliberating right now, meaning we are working on compliance. So we're primarily looking at legal, right, and our ranked criteria and trying to do an orderly kind of deliberation based on ranked criteria, but it's a legal process and we're trying to understand it in that deliberation. So, and it's a nine, I think we're working 9 to 8, 9 a.m. to 8 p.m. again during those deliberations. And it looks like it's just like, it's another 10 days. Mr. Adelson.
I just wanted to, and perhaps that I'm missing something. The compliance that we've been doing this week, we're done. Unless what the commission has already done and this week, unless these maps are changed. But the maps that have been saved, cataloged, we're done with our compliance analysis evaluation for now. Unless changes are made before you decide which plans to vote out, get published and bring out for public hearing, there's really nothing left for us to do unless you change them.
Okay, so then what I'm thinking, Commissioner Eden, what I'm thinking about is how we sort of this morning, we left the House maps and went to the congressionals this afternoon because it felt like slow and we weren't quite making the same progress. And so the House maps feel sort of unfinished to me.
Well, I think and Commissioner Rothman, I think we certainly appreciate that and understand that. But one of the choices from yesterday, you now with the House plan, you have partisan fairness, several partisan fairness districts that were a big topic of conversation. Now for you have choices for you to evaluate which ones you use, which ones you don't use. Do you want to create another one? You have choices because, as you know, for the first time now, you have the evaluative tools to help you determine partisan fairness. And you applied them across the board many, many times this week. So
Okay.
I think that the biggest, and I certainly, I understand where you're coming from about the dynamic, that a lot of that was around what was happening to move forward with partisan fairness. So now that you have districts on the table to choose from.
Okay, so Commissioner Eden, then Commissioner Orton.
Well, it's definitely been a long week. I agree with you, but I think like what was said a little while ago, we certainly have made a lot of progress here. We have 4 collaborative House maps. We have 2 Senate maps. We have 4 congressional maps, 2 Senate maps, and we have a few options for the House maps, but I tend to agree with you, Commissioner Rothorn. Our House map, I think, still needs just a little bit of work. And I think we can make it a little better. little bit on all aspects, population deviation, communities of interest, partisan fairness, all of them. But I think we're really, really close. I do. And I think that even though it's been a long, tiring week, we're really making good progress here.
Okay, thanks, Commissioner Eid. Commissioner Orton?
So I think along with that, we'd have to go back and check, but I'm pretty sure we started the day with, or we started this moving to the Senate with Mr. Adelson saying that there were a few districts that needed to move over to Democrat to make it more balanced. And I don't think we accomplished that. I think we got sidetracked. Now we have a plan that is balanced. It's the one that Brittany just did, but our original collaborative one, I think we haven't quite finished with yet to balance it.
And my summary there is I feel like Commissioner Clark, do you have your hand? Did you want to say something?
No, I mean, I agree with what Anthony said, but just a quick question. From when Julianne was talking, so there's a possibility we may vote on some tomorrow, or are we going to do that Monday or Tuesday?
Julianne, the question was to you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Chair. No, Commissioner Clark, the commission can elect to vote on the day that it chooses.
Okay.
My observation is, again, that the maps that have been discussed in the meeting have all gone through the compliance analysis at this point. And again, the publication and the point in moving them forward is to get them before the public to receive the feedback. And the commission has the opportunity, again, to make those changes during that second deliberation period that will occur prior to the commission deciding which proposed final plan or plans, to answer Commissioner Orton's direct question. You can move forward one plan or two proposed plans is fine, or two or more plans with an S. So the commission, again, as it has demonstrated over the past few days, can make these adjustments and fine tunings indefinitely. And we kind of started Monday, I think, on that note and with that recognition.
Okay, so tomorrow we could vote on the congressional ones and work more on the Senate, like Cynthia's indicating, and then work more on the House as well, and then vote on those Monday or Tuesday at our choice when we're ready.
Thanks, Commissioner Clark. Commissioner Eid?
I think we should choose a specific day to vote, just as far as, making sure we can get as many commissioners here as possible to vote. It might be easier to accomplish that if there's an actual day that says, hey, we're all going to vote on the maps on this day.
How do we feel about that, commissioners? Do we want to try to, go ahead, Commissioner Lang.
I'll let everybody know right now, I have to leave at noon tomorrow. So if there's voting tomorrow and you want as many commissioners here, I'll be here till noon.
Are you here Monday or Tuesday?
Yes. I'm
Okay,
here
full
both
day.
days. Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
great. So that influences our decision. Commissioners, do we want to just try to put that on the agenda for tomorrow that we discuss setting a day in the morning? Commissioner Orton?
Well, I think Anthony's right. It would be good to let people know. Maybe we could plan on Monday, but then if we're not ready, we're not ready and we postpone. General Counsel, do you have any thoughts?
I do have an observation. I think it has been very clear that Tuesday is the absolute last day that you have to act. And that does not mean you have to wait until Tuesday to act. So certainly if the commission is comfortable, they can vote beforehand. But the quorum is 9. Tuesday is the deadline, the absolute deadline. So I really, that's been established from the very beginning of the process.
So why don't we try to give ourselves, and because I think what I'm hearing too is that our contractors need this kind of deadline too. Like we need it, but also, right, we need to give them as much time to do this stuff. So can we suggest Monday before noon, meaning in the morning, or is that too early? Too early? I'm seeing a shaking head. It's got to be Tuesday. Commissioner Witches?
Tuesday. It's the last, that has to be then the drop dead date anyway.
Director Hammersmith?
Don't put extra pressure on us here. We have a drop dead date where we need to have these maps voted on so we can get them to our vendors for publication for the public hearings. Tuesday's today. It doesn't really need to be voted on or anything. That should be the day.
Thank you, Commissioner Witches. Director Hammersmith?
Again, I would encourage the commission, if you're ready, to vote earlier to allow the contractors as much time as possible to do this work and also to get this posted on the website. I know that the California Commission received criticism because they didn't give enough time to have things posted on the website for the public to react. So, and to really look at those maps. So if they get posted on the website, over a week from now, over the weekend, and we're starting a public hearing on Monday, we're not giving the public much time. So I know there's a give and take and a balance, and we're really time compressed. So
thank you, Director Hammersmith. I see Commissioner Lang and then Commissioner Clark and then Commissioner Witches, and I also see our general counsel who wants to get in. So Commissioner Lang first, please.
Can I make a motion that we vote by the end of the day, Monday?
Is there a second? Commissioner Clark?
I was gonna, yeah, I know, I clicked it on me, but I wasn't on mute. I would say, we're gonna continue to do work Monday and through the day, probably till the end of the day until we're finished. So I would suggest we do what Dustin presented and do it first thing Tuesday. We don't know how long this is gonna take. So we're gonna need some time. So I would suggest we do it first thing Tuesday.
Okay, Commissioner Witches, and I do want to have general counsel weigh in too, please.
Thank you so much. And Mr. Chair, so my impression of this conversation is that it's not changing the commission's plan or the overall plan. The commission has options. The commission needs to vote by Tuesday. If the commission does not meet the publication deadlines, the public hearings have to be adjourned. So again, I like these nuances of the time and the day and all of that. You have to act by Tuesday, and recognizing that the commission is exhausted because of all the hard work it's been doing, that the conversation really isn't modifying any of that. So if the commission feels ready to vote sooner, then vote. I mean, it's literally up to the commission. And again, hearing from the individual commissioners, their presentations on Monday, I think will be very exciting.
Okay, thank you, General Counsel. Commissioner Witches, and then I want to get it to Mr. Stegall.
So the thing about Tuesday is our vendors and everybody to have to get this done. This was built into Tuesday being the drop dead date for it. So Tuesday is a very appropriate day to do so. We don't need to, would it be awesome if we did it early? Great.
Okay.
But I don't want to put us under any due stress to say we're going to vote on Monday. That's my only thing. Like Tuesday is perfect.
Commissioner Clark?
I think we need to set the time and the date to make sure we have all 13 commissioners there ahead of time. So that's why I think Tuesday is also appropriate. Spend the day Tuesday doing this.
Okay, and we don't have to bind ourselves. That's what I'm hearing Commissioner Witches say too, is hey, let's not give we have a deadline, we have it published, we know what we have to do. So we don't need to create any more undue stress. I think we have maybe got a sense of how close we are. I feel like Commissioner Clark, do you have your hand still or?
No, I'll put it down.
Okay. So, Mr. Stegall, you did not need us, correct?
That was correct. I was just had questions about, I'm still not clear exactly the naming convention we want for the duplicate plan. I know I'm not responsible for it.
Yep.
Shall I put Commissioner Kellum's initials next to that?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Rather than RES.
Yep. Will she?
Why don't we just put both?
That's it.
And this is no, I'm not direct. I'm
Yes, we're gonna
suggesting
do
to my
both.
bosses
Yep.
that they might consider putting BK and RES. And I would also suggest that the commission has till Tuesday to vote, that it not put any other hurdles on that. There's no requirement that 13 commissioners be present. People may be absent for a variety of planned or unplanned reasons. And again, this is just to put the proposed maps forward to go into the public hearings and hear all the wonderful feedback.
Thank you. Okay. So without objection, I have a hand, Commissioner Eid.
I'm really sorry. We also, in addition to, if I have our process correct, we have to first vote on how many collaborative maps to bring forward.
That is true.
Okay, so I just wanted to
Yep. So
point
we've
that
got,
out too.
yep, we've got lots of little steps that we'll be navigating. So we have finished our we have approved our minutes earlier this month, or excuse me, earlier in the meeting. So without objection, I will ask Executive Director Hammersmith to provide a report. Please proceed, Ms. Hammersmith.
I'm sure that's the last thing you want to hear right now after a very long day, but I'll be very quick. First of all, the schedule that I've been putting at the end of your agendas for your consideration has not been voted on. I'm not real sure if we voted on Friday's meeting, but I don't believe we voted on Mondays and Tuesdays, let alone any deliberations after the public hearings. So we'd like to get these on a calendar, get rooms scheduled for these. And it has been suggested to me that the deliberations after the public hearings, that also Saturday, October 30th be added to give you 9 days instead of 8 work days. It may be a backup, but depending on how the work goes, you might want to consider that also.
Commissioner Witches.
I move that we accept the schedule as presented by Director Hammersmith,
As presented or as amended with the Saturday?
as amended with the Saturday.
Okay, is there a second? Second from Commissioner Lett. Is there any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, all in favor of accepting the motion as presented and the future commission meetings as amended, please raise your hand and say aye. All opposed, please say nay. The ayes have it. I think that was an aye, and I think that was that Commissioner Kellum?
It was Commissioner Kellum.
Thank you,
This
Commissioner
is-
Kellum.
This is Commissioner Clark.
And Commissioner Clark and Commissioner Kellum, so were both of you, excuse me, I'm going to start one at a time. Commissioner Kellum, were you a yes or a no?
Was in there.
That was a no. Okay. And Commissioner Clark, were you a yes or a no?
Yes.
Thank you. Commissioner Lang, yes or no? Okay. She's not on. Okay. So thank you. That's what you needed, Commissioner. Excuse me. Is there any other parts of your report, Director Hammersmith, that you need to? That's it. One more, please proceed.
Just very quickly, expense reports. We are past the end of the fiscal year and I need those in no later than this weekend to expense them out in the last fiscal year. So please, if you're behind at all, get those in. Thank you.
Thank you, Director Hammersmith. So without objection, I will ask Sarah Reinhardt from the Michigan Department of State if she has a report. Hearing no objection, please proceed, Ms. Reinhardt.
No report, but I do just want to say, I'm seeing a lot of long faces in here. I know we're all very tired. It's been a long week. It's been a long day. But again, I'm a big believer in tiny wins, and your VRA legal counsel today told you that you're almost done with compliance. I believe actually his words were, you are done with compliance. I know there's a little bit of work that you all still want to do, but make sure you take a time tonight to reflect on that. That's a victory. You guys are doing great. Get some rest and we'll see you bright and early tomorrow.
Thank you, Ms. Reinhardt. Correspondence received in, oh, Director Hammersmith.
Just very quickly, Commissioner Lang wanted me to let you know that her power just went out. So that's why she's disappeared so abruptly from the meeting.
Thank you. Sorry to hear that. Correspondence received in advance of our meeting today. I'm getting a lot of feedback. Okay. Correspondence and received in advance of our meeting today was provided along with the written public comments of the commissioners in our meeting materials. It is my understanding that we have approved future commission meetings and there are no future agenda items to share at this time. Are there any announcements? Commissioner Witches.
I just want to say that I am extremely proud of everything that we have done this particular week. And we are going to finish out strong tomorrow. We're going to have a weekend to do things on our own and hopefully relax some and come back and do the same thing next week and then have a couple days off to really hang our hats up and pat ourselves on the back. So bravo, I'm very proud of all of us.
Thank you, Commissioner Witches. Any other announcements? Please, Commissioner Lett. Wait until tomorrow about the public comment was the observation from Commissioner Lett. As item, yes, it's moved and seconded. Is there any discussion on the motion? All in favor of moving and adjourning, say aye. All opposed, say nay. The ayes have it. We are adjourned and moving on. Thank you. See you tomorrow.